All right, let's finish with a quick thought on the Pelicans, who are out of the playoff mix, like 18 games out of the play-in spot. They're done for the season. They trade away Brandon Ingram. DeJounte Murray is out for the year. So why are we talking about them? You might ask, because Zion Williamson has shown signs of life. Zion Williamson has had 2 triple-doubles in the last 2 weeks, the first 2 of his career, if you can believe that. He has played in 21 of the last 30 New Orleans games. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. 3 months ago, the conversation was, what do they do with Zion? We had this conversation. Do they trade Zion? Is he still the guy you can build around? Is it too small a sample size to look at what he's doing over these last month and a half and say, this is the guy we build around? Forget any trade talk. Forget any go a different direction. Zion Williamson is the franchise centerpiece. Do you think the Pelicans have been reassured by that over the last few weeks?
I mean, what's most interesting to me is if you look at the quotes around this Zion resurgence, they're very specific. So Willie Green, the coach, says, when Zion decides to be in great condition, this is what he can do, right? CJ McCollum said he's always been there physically in terms of his talent, but this has been a great leap mentally. There's been several points, and I forget who said it. One of the other teammates said, when he decides to apply this amount of effort in a game, that's the Zion you see. So all 3 of those statements are the exact same thing. They're saying it's an effort play with Zion, whether it's keeping himself in shape, whether it's has performance on the court, whether how much focus he has. And I think, first of all, that's fair, considering what we've seen in the last few years. And I think it's really impressive that Zion has been able to buckle down like this, because there was a while you weren't sure if that was ever going to come through. I think for now, the Pelicans feel like, man, this is the Zion Williamson we drafted. This is great. I think, though, the fact that all of those 3 statements were conditional tells you that they are still thinking this could go away. I hope this continues. We'll see. And, I hope for Zion's sake and the Pels' sake, because they've had terrible luck, and I love the city of New Orleans, that that this continues. Because it's great to see a guy we were so excited to see drafted play well. That's what we want, right? That's what fans want. And it's nice to see it.
I think one way or the other, the Pelicans are once again a rebuilding team. When you traded away Brandon Ingram and didn't get kind of dollar for dollar value back in return, you're basically saying we're going to start over to a certain degree. That starting over is exacerbated by the fact that DeJounte Murray may not play next year. I mean, coming off an Achilles injury, that is usually a year-plus type of recovery. When you come back, you're not quite the player you're hopefully going to be later on. So right now the Pelicans are looking at, kind of rebooting this whole thing. You got Zion there. I think he can still be the centerpiece. I think you still build around Zion Williamson. You keep Trey Murphy, who's a great wing player. Yves Missi, terrific big man. Plays kind of the pick and roll exceptionally
nice pronunciation,
well.
By the way.
I worked hard on that going into it. I wasn't 100% sure when I woke up this morning. Herb Jones, another guy that can play. Those are the guys you're building around. And then you're crossing your fingers and hoping that those ping pong balls on lottery night go your way. And again, which they've been fortunate in that respect. But you get a guy like a Cooper Flagg, or you get a guy like Dylan Harper to play that position. Probably trade CJ McCollum this offseason, because CJ's in his mid-30s, 1 year left on his contract. You're probably not building it. You're not going to win while he's still around. But the one thing I think the Pelicans can take out of this recent stretch is just kind of a reassuring feeling that this guy still can be the guy. Like, we can still win games. They're only about 500 since the All-Star break, but they've got a bunch of guys out. If you put the right mix around him, you can be a contending team. Now it's about going back to the drawing board. You tried once with CJ, with Ingram, with Murray. It didn't work out for a variety of reasons. Now you kind of start over again and say, all right, we've got 3 or 4 guys, and we're going to build this team around Zion that way. I think that's the positive that you take out of this New Orleans season.
I mean, that is definitely the best case scenario, and I'm sure they are encouraged by what has happened here. But again, the quotes out of that team are very conditional, and they have some trepidation. Is this going to last? Is he going to keep doing this? When he does this, that's when he's good, that sort of thing. And we'll have to see. Look, Nikola Jokic had terrible eating habits, and was carrying around a lot of weight and wasn't playing very good defense for years in this league. And then decided, I remember very specifically, he was like, I stopped drinking Coca-Cola. And it was a bit more than that, obviously. But, he really buckled down and has been exactly that way since. It's not like he's regressed. It's not like he's been on and off. Zion could be the exact same. This could have been it. This could have been the clarifying moment. And he stopped drinking Coca-Cola, and he is going to be at the elite level we expected for the next X number of seasons. Or it could be a regression. We'll just have to see which version he turns into.
Tough podcast for Coca-Cola. Taking some hits here.
I'm just saying. Taking
some hits on the show. I agree with you. I mean, look, injuries are attributable to conditioning. We saw that with Luka Doncic. The Mavericks attributed his conditioning issues to the injuries that he was dealing with. Obviously, Zion, who is a unique athlete. Like, how many guys are 6'7", pushing 300 pounds with the kind of explosiveness that Zion Williamson plays with? It doesn't always make sense.
Yeah.
But when I watch him this recent stretch, that triple-double he had against the Clippers, you read some of the quotes from teammates talking about his passing, and it's kind of an underrated aspect of his game. If he can just find a way to stay on the floor, they've still got something. That is still
absolutely.
That is still a championship level contender, in my opinion, can be built around Zion Williamson.
It's like Dorothy and the red slippers. You had it in you all along.
You can do it.